I'm Davy, and I'm awesome! And welcome to Davy's Awesome Movies, where I review the styles of movies that I love, the alternative, B-rated, cult-style flicks. This week I am reviewing one of my favorite movies from my childhood. This is a movie my brother and I went to see in theaters. We had the toys to this and everything. It was awesome. But underperformed and not very remembered, sadly. This movie was made in 1994, and it was directed by Russell Macaulay, and a screenplay written by David Cope. And it was produced by Martin Bergman, Will Baer, and Michael S. Bergman, and made by Bergman Baer Productions Incorporated, and distributed by Universal Pictures. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the best superhero comic book / noir movies from the 1990s, The Shadow. The movie opens with a Lee Peng, played by Jong Hung, being taken to a drug lord, Yinko, because he killed 3 of Yinko's men.
He already controls the opium trade all across Asia.
Lee Peng warns that if he kills him, his brothers will come for him.
I'll bury them beside you.
Yinko is played by Alec Baldwin. Lee Peng, though, gets freed and gets a hold of one of Yinko's men. His most loyal man, to be exact.
Shoot through him.
Well, I don't care what the employee pension is. This job sucks! Later that night... That's not Lee Peng's brothers, though. That's actually a few servants of a holy man, Toku, who wants to meet with Yinko.
A holy man wants to see me?
So once he gets his audience...
Cranston. Lamont Cranston.
Toku, despite the fact that Lamont Cranston, Yinko, is a drug lord that has taken many, many lives, Toku sees something in him, believes in him, and believes that he could be a vessel for good, truth, and justice. But he tells him that redemption comes with a price.
I'm not looking for redemption.
You have no choice.
He grabs a knife!
I wouldn't do that.
Oh, I don't know what's worse. The knife spinning or that ridiculously deep voice coming out of that preteen. The knife is worse! The knife is definitely worse!
Hold on.
Then we see some scrolling text telling us about Toku teaching Cranston in the ways of clouding men's minds and hiding in the shadows. And once that was done, 7 years later, he would now have to return to his despicable, grotesque, horrible homeland. Yes, New York City, where people spend their entire lives complaining about each other's pizza. Then we see some mobsters about to dump a man over a bridge, a man with his feet covered in cement, because he happened to witness their murder. That's the Shadow, and he knows that they killed a policeman.
The weed of crime bears bitter fruit.
You old hag?
We don't care if you get it.
Duke, the head mobster guy, starts shooting around at nothing. Yeah! The Shadow tells him that he needs to go to the precinct and confess what he has done.
Oh my God! I'll confess! For God's sake, I don't want to die!
Wow, the Shadow has the same persuasion method as Suge Knight. Now for the guy with the cement shoes. What the? Oh. Well, that's good. I don't know if that would actually work, but that's good. The Shadow gets into his cab with this man, Dr. Roy Tam, and tells him that since he saved his life, it now belongs to him. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to work. I think you're supposed to just, do nice things for the sake of doing them, but whatever.
You'll become one of my agents.
If I get a cape like that, you got a deal. He even gives him a code that he gives to all of his agents so that they know who each other are. The code is that one of them will say, "The sun is shining," and the other will respond, "But the ice is slippery." Dr. Tam, taking this all in, asks him, how did he know who he was? How did he know where he was? How did he know what was going on?
The Shadow knows.
Oh! Yes! Yes! The driver drops off Dr. Tam and gives him a ring that all of the agents have. And the driver is...
Somebody who owes him his life. Somebody just like you.
Well, I was going to say Mo Shrevitz, played by the late great Peter Boyle, but that too. Mo drives Lamont to the Cobalt Club to meet up with his uncle, Police Commissioner Wainwright, who is getting so many reports on this Shadow character that he's about to set up a task force to find him.
There is no Shadow.
Oh, there is no Shadow. If there were, I'd be Eleanor Roosevelt.
The Shadow is a Jedi! After his uncle clears his mind.
You were about to tell me who she is.
That's Margot Lane.
Played by Penelope Ann Miller. Oh yeah, I've loved her ever since Adventures in Babysitting. She may have been the nerdy one who had no cash, but still. Lamont introduces himself and asks her to dinner, even though they're already supposed to be having it.
I have this sudden craving for Peking duck.
Me too. If you haven't had Peking duck, what is wrong with you? Get that delicious, crispy skin, that moist, tender meat inside. How much longer is this review? Apparently, though, Margot can hear people's thoughts, and this is very dangerous for somebody like Lamont Cranston. So he finishes up the date, drops her off at home, and decides he's never going to see her again. Spoilers, he will. Just then we go to a museum that has gotten a strange delivery. A silver tomb that says it's for Genghis Khan. Since they have no idea where it came from, the curators leave it there to go get some information about it, leaving with it one guard. When suddenly...
We're closed.
Well, if you're closed then, he should just leave, right? But instead of leaving, he decides to mind control the guard to sacrifice himself.
Yes, my Khan.
The Khan is Shiwan Khan, played by John Lone. Then we go to Margot, who's on her way to see her father, a scientist. But on the way there, she bumps into a Farley Claymore.
Margot, you don't return my calls anymore.
Played by Tim Curry, one of the best legendary actors out there, who apparently lobbied really hard for this role just so he could be in a movie with this guy.
Dad, where did you get this shirt?
Well, you said I look good in green.
Sir Ian McKellen. He plays Margot's father, Reynard Lane, who is also a scientist and colorblind. The news of the murder gets back to Lamont Cranston, who goes to investigate. But before he can get a real investigation going, in his lair...
Shiwan Khan, last descendant of Genghis Khan.
Okay, two things wrong with that statement there, buddy. First of all, as of the most recent studies, about 8% of Mongolian males are directly related to Genghis Khan. Which brings us to number 2 problem. If you were really Mongolian and descendant, you would know it's pronounced Chenghis, not Genghis. Shiwan tells Lamont that he was also a student of Tulku, although it didn't go as well as Lamont's experience. But he does intend to use his mind control powers to conquer the world, both what Chenghis had already conquered and then the rest. And that he wants Yinko at his side.
That's not my name anymore.
You tell him, Mr. Donaghy. Shiwan leaves.
For the bourbon.
And Lamont goes to see Dr. Tam, pretending to be one of the other Shadow agents.
I need a metal analysis of this.
Oh, save yourself the time, I got you. It's a coin.
Metal is bronzium.
Okay, fine. Show off. Dr. Tam tells him that with some beryllium sphere, this could be used as a molecular explosion device.
Or an atomic bomb.
Hey, that's catchy.
This takes place right after World War I, so we didn't have one of those yet. But Dr. Tam does stress that in order to do this, they would need beryllium sphere as well. Guess who's working on that? And Shiwan calls out to Reinhardt.
Yes, my Khan.
A few days later, Margot can't get a hold of her father at all. He's acting extremely weird, so she goes to the police. Nothing's really happening there, so she goes straight to Commissioner Wainwright about her father's strange behavior, like his rambling on, not letting her visit him, stuff about the One Ring.
He doesn't even speak Chinese!
Maybe he got a Rosetta Stone.
What's your opinion, Mr.
Dude, that was rude. I know they can be annoying when they just go on, but could just pretend to listen instead of just disappearing. She catches him, though, at his cab.
You will forget about me.
Why would I do that?
the psychic stuff doesn't work on her because she has similar psychic stuff. Either that or maybe she's a Tordarian. Apparently only money works on them. The Shadow shows up just as Shiwan's men are there to get the bomb. And the Shadow takes him down.
Next time, you get to be on top.
Eat it, Arnold! The Shadow goes inside where the other Mongolian men are ready. But that doesn't stop him. He fights them off!
I sense somebody's coming.
But the others do get Reinhardt and the bomb out. Reinhardt then calls his daughter and tells her to come to his lab.
I have a mission for you, my dear.
Apparently Shiwan's mind control powers are stronger than Lamont's. Shiwan sends Margot to shoot the Shadow. Well, apparently you two have something in common. You're lousy shots. This makes her come out of her trance, though, and also makes her realize something.
You're the Shadow.
And I'm awesome! She then asks for his help to get her father.
Just be gone when I get back.
Lamont is heading towards his sanctum, but then notices somebody following him. I mean, how would you not notice? Like the time I tried to follow a girl around for a while. She very quickly noticed me. Then again, turns out it's not very hard to notice somebody dressed like a ballerina. The Shadow loses him, then starts following him all the way back to Shiwan.
Nice time.
Thank you.
And they talk about the fact that Lamont has figured out his plan, and Lamont makes it clear he's going to stop him.
You talk, he'll
are
listen.
boring me.
Yeah, he tells Lamont that he took the knife after killing Toku, and now he has the power over it. Lamont tries to end it right there. Well, that was cool. Shiwan gets away and Lamont just goes home. When he goes home, Margot's still there. But he's surprisingly cool with it. Just tells her that after staying in the guest room, she needs to leave by the morning.
I'm not afraid of you.
But I am.
Woo! Starting to get why the ladies used to like Alec Baldwin. Next morning, Lamont wakes up Margot.
You have problems.
Yeah, and one of those problems is figuring out where you got that 90. But instead of leaving, Margot insists that she helps Lamont. Lamont mentions that Shiwan needs beryllium sphere.
Beryllium Sphere! Farley Claymore!
So now the Shadow goes to pay him a visit and let him know that he is being mind controlled. But he's actually not. He's the only one of Shiwan's men that is there voluntarily. After shooting him, he leaves the Shadow in this flooding room.
Margot, I need you.
Oh, so now you need her. Typical. Somehow, he survives until she gets there. Sweetheart, you can do much better than Lamont. He's all washed up. She gets him home and gets him to rest to attend to his wound. But while he's sleeping, she sees into his mind and sees the dreams of his past. His past where he gorged on strawberries. Shiwan gets his bomb.
Extra! Read all about it! Madman's right to blow the city sky high!
He even sets it for 2 hours.
There's an aeroplane waiting to take us all to safety. We leave in 1 hour.
But then Shiwan can sense the presence of the Shadow.
Find him and kill him.
Kill him?
Or hey, since you got a Tommy gun, this time you can make him get down on his knees and tell him that he loves you. Oh, this is fun. But apparently Claymore is just getting irritated.
Come out of here and fight like a man.
And now we wait with anticipation.
You're a fool, Claymore.
Get out of my sight!
Well, that didn't have the payoff we hoped for.
There's your exit, Claymore.
Even gave him a way out. Now for the showdown with Siwan and the Shadow. Ah! Oh, that stupid knife! You should have gotten a buck knife. Buck's a good knife.
You are losing your concentration.
You know, I never did understand, why would becoming the Shadow give you a new nose of all things? But then suddenly, right as that knife is about to kill the Shadow, he finally gains control of it! Yeah! This causes Siwan's mind control to fail, so Margot is able to finally get to her father and speak to him.
Who did this?
You did. We only have an hour left.
Now he's got an hour to disable the bomb. Until he cuts the wrong wire.
2 minutes left!
Of course, because plenty of time to disarm it would not be cliche. And of course, it's getting to the final seconds, so he picks the green wire.
This is green. That's red.
Okay, whatever. If he would have picked the color he was going for, you'd be dead, so just shut up. The Shadow chases Siwan into a hall of mirrors.
What are you doing?
This mirror sequence was actually supposed to be a lot longer, but apparently during filming there was a big earthquake, a 6.7 magnitude earthquake that actually destroyed the sets. So by the time they rebuilt it, they didn't have the time or money to do it the way they wanted. Yeah! But it's still cool. But that doesn't kill Siwan. In fact, he wakes up in a straitjacket.
Release me at once.
No, we won't have any of that.
Why didn't that work?
Of course, we had to remove a little section of your frontal lobe, but you'll never miss it, believe me.
Dude! Sweet irony!
I am C1 Khan, the last descendant of Genghis Khan!
Again, he had a lot of descendants. Genghis got around. Margot and Lamont are enjoying a nice kiss, but now he has to go.
How will you know where I am?
I'll know.
The Shadow knows. There you have it. That's The Shadow. A really great superhero movie. I even love the noir element in it. The script was good, the story was done well, the action sequences were fantastic, and especially for the time of '94, the special effects were awesome. I think one of the biggest complaints I had heard about was people complaining about how long it was. It was a 108-minute movie, a little bit more than the average 90-minute movie, which now wouldn't mean nothing to anybody. The average superhero movie is about 2 hours and 30 minutes, but back then, that was considered very long. I wouldn't say it's a total flop. It had a $40 million budget and did $48 million in the box office. Made more than its money back, however, it was considered a box office disappointment. They were really expecting this to be big, make over $100 million, and spawn sequels to this, kind of like the Batman movies. But instead, this was the only one they made, and it kind of just drifted away into obscurity. Funny enough, though, apparently Sam Raimi really wanted to direct an adaptation of The Shadow, but he wasn't granted the rights. Keep in mind, this was '94, Spider-Man didn't come out until the early 2000s, so they didn't really believe in him that much yet. Now they would have been like, yeah, sure, go for it. And that would have been freaking awesome. Heck, Sam Raimi, you can still do a Shadow movie. Let's get this going. Other than John Lone, though, another person that was considered for the role of Siwan was Chow Yun-fat. Might have been cool, but I think John Lone did a great job. However, though, this is just one of those really unappreciated movies. It was really good. There was nothing really wrong with it. It had a great cast, a great story, great effects. I think the biggest reason that it underperformed was more due to the fact that it was, in my opinion, very ahead of its time. Because you got to remember, this was '94, when they didn't take a lot of superhero movies that seriously. This was around the time that the only way to get a really good budget for a superhero movie was to be called Batman or Superman. Otherwise, not really. I mean, keep in mind, this was the same year that they gave somebody $1 million to make a Fantastic Four movie. As much as I would like to see a reboot or a remake, whatever, basically they'd try again with The Shadow, I did really love this one. In fact, as a kid, I was not yet aware of the Shadow radio series. Because of this, I found out about it, and plus it was popular for a minute, so I was able to get some cassette tapes of it, and really enjoyed them. They were really cool, those little radio shows where they would do the sound effects and stuff, and you basically created the rest of the world in your mind. was awesome. Just like this movie. This movie now has a cult following, but I would love to see it get a bigger cult following. It deserves one. And personally, my biggest opinion on why it just didn't do that well was it came out the same year as movies like The Mask and The Lion King, so it just got kind of overshadowed. Pun not intended. But it is a really good movie, and I do recommend that you guys go and check it out. So there you have it. That's my movie review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications for when I post new videos, and leave a comment. Because if you don't, not only will I know, but the shadow knows. Love you guys.